Okay, now we'll show you how to delete the linked table referral table in the health database. If you delete a linked referral table in our database, Access will delete the link to the table, but it will not delete the actual table in the referral database here. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, let's go ahead and open up our navigation pane once again. From there, go ahead and locate the referral table here. Let's go ahead and right click on that. Now go ahead and select delete. And you can see that you are prompted right away if we want to remove the link to the table referral. So this dialog box confirms that we will only delete the link to the referral table, but not the referral table itself in our referral database. So go ahead and click the yes button then to accept that. Once you do that, Access deletes the link to the referral table, and the referral table no longer appears in our navigation pane here in our health database. That's it for deleting a linked table. Once you've completed that, we will be moving on to the next section of our tutorial 12, which will cover using the database splitter. And the database splitter is an Access tool that splits an Access database into two files. One file contains the tables, and the other file contains the queries, forms, reports, and other database objects. Okay, so before we move forward, go ahead and make a backup copy of your health database. And once you make a copy of that, you'll see that it's in the folder where the rest of yours are at. It'll probably be the date that you created. Alright, once you've done that, we're going to click on the Database Tools tab. Once you've clicked that and you've opened up the information that's in that tab, we're going to go ahead and move to the Move Data group. Once you're there, I want you to click on the Access Database button. And you can see here that it split a database into two files. Once you click that, you will notice that the Database Splitter dialog box opens. Now we're going to click on the Split Database button here, of course. And the Create Backend Database dialog box opens. The backend database will contain the tables from the health database. You'll use the default file name here, health_BE for backend. So go ahead and navigate to the folder you have everything listed. I've already got mine here. Once you're in your Access 3 tutorial folder, go ahead and click the Split button down here. And you'll see that a dialog box informs you that the database was successfully split. Go ahead and click the OK button now. Now over here to the left, you will notice that each table here in our health database has an icon next to its name, indicating that it is a link to a table in another file. The tables are no longer stored in the health database. They are stored in the health_BE database that we just created using our database splitter. Now you can use the linked tables as if they were stored in the health database, except you cannot change a table's design from inside the health database. You have to close the health database and open up the health_BE database to change a table's design. Now you'll notice that our other items that are located in our queries, forms, reports, and macros, those do not have that same icon next to them because they are being stored in our health database. So as I mentioned earlier, files are split into two different files, one containing tables, one containing the other elements. So let's go ahead and verify the contents for our backend database. Let's go ahead and close our health database, and we are going to open the health backend database. We'll go ahead and close the database now. And you can see that I have my backup copy here, and I have my backend copy here, the health_BE that we just created. So let's go ahead and open this up now. And we know that there's no digital signatures, so we'll go ahead and cancel there. And we'll go ahead and try to fix that certificate issue that we've got here. I think it might be with the file extension, so let's just go ahead, since this is ACCDC, Let's go ahead and just change this to ACCDB so that we have the correct file extension for Access Database. We'll see if that'll correct our issue. Of course, we want to change it or we wouldn't have tried. Let's go ahead and try opening our file now. And lo and behold, it works. So for whatever reason there's an issue with Access 2013 in trying to split a database, and then that file extension gets changed. So now we've seen that we can open up our tables, we can modify these if need be because they are an actual Access database. Although we cannot do it if we were back into our health database, only here in our backend database. So once you verified that, you can go ahead and close your backend database here, then open up your health database to be able to continue on in tutorial 12. Now we will finish developing our health database here by setting up the database properties and the startup options. Let's go ahead and click on the File tab here in our database. Next, we're going to click on the options. Once the Access Options dialog box is opened up, we will then look at the left section of our dialog box. We're going to click Current Database. Now you see here on the right side we have a list of options for our current database. And we're going to go into the Application Title box here. And we're going to give a title of Health Release 1. Let's go ahead and type that in now. Once you've got that typed in, go ahead and click in the Display Form area. Click your drop down arrow here. And we're going to click Form Navigation. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. I cancel it and open it back up. Now you can see that I have the form navigation here. Go ahead and click that. So what we've done here is we have set the title in our Access title bar to Health Release 1, and we've set that the form navigation form as the initial form loaded into the application when Access opens up the health file. So we're going to scroll through here. We're going to click some check boxes to disable or uncheck those properties. So if you could just follow along, we're going to uncheck the Use Access Special Keys. We're going to disable the Enable Layout View. Next, we're going to disable Enable Design Changes to Tables in the Datasheet view. We're going to disable the navigation pane. We're going to disable Allow Full Menus. Next, we're going to disable the Allow Default Shortcut Menus. And lastly, we're going to disable Track Name Autocorrect Information. Once you've completed those choices, we're then going to click on the Object Designers option there. Then we're going to scroll down and we're going to uncheck, or we're going to click to remove the check mark here for disable our error checking. Go ahead and click the OK button. And you'll get a dialog box pop up, of course, for you must close and reopen the current database for the specified options to take effect. Go ahead and click OK, and this should close the dialog box. Now we're going to go ahead and test our database properties and startup options. We're going to go to the File tab. We're going to close our health database without exiting Access, and then we're going to click the File tab and we're going to open, and once again click on our health database. Let's go ahead and do that now. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to the File tab. Now we're going to then click Close. You'll notice we haven't exited Access completely. We've only closed our database. We're going to go back up to our File tab again. And then we're going to hit Open. And then we're going to check our recent list here. And you should see that the health database is there. Let's go ahead and click that to make that open. And of course it says I can't find it, because it is looking for that file with the wrong extension here. So let's hit OK here. Go back up to File. Now let's close the correct one. Okay, if you happen to get that same problem, since splitting the database is really not a common practice, you can go ahead and just go in and create that file that it was looking for, and just make a copy of your backend file, only take it back to that extension that it didn't like to work with earlier, and just go ahead and give that .accdc extension. Once you have a copy of that there, you should be able to open up your database. So let's go ahead and try that now. So we'll go ahead and go back to opening our database. And there it is. And you can compare that with your figure 12-38 in your eText. So you'll see that your health database user interface has been opened this way. So Access opens the health database, opens the navigation form, disables the navigation pane. As you can see, it's not available there on our left, and displays a restricted ribbon with only the File and Home tabs. And then it displays Health Release 1 in the Access window tile bar up here, just as we did it to do so when we were working with our options. Then you can click on each of the navigation of the tabs here in the navigation form to verify that all the features work. And you can see, and this is a quirky thing here in Access 2013, that we don't see it here, but we are in the form. So if we click on Queries, you can see that the Forms button is available. We can click on Reports. There's our report. And you can see that Forms is there until we hover over it. So go ahead and click back up on Forms, and you know, obviously, the form is here and it's working properly. Next, we're going to look at how to bypass the startup options when opening the database. Okay, just to bypass the startup options, let's go ahead and close our health database now. Go to File, and we can just hit Exit. And we'll get back here into our Windows Explorer. So what you're going to do here is we're going to hold the Shift key while we double click the health file to open the file. Hold the Shift, double click, and our file opened, but it did not open up automatically on our page here. If you look, you can see the shortcut was created, so we'll just go down here, click on it, and there it is. And as expected, our health database opened without the startup options that we had previously set. For instance, you can now use the shortcut keys to close a table, which had been disabled previously in the startup options when the Allow Default Shortcut menus was disabled as one of our choices earlier. Let's go ahead and open up the employee table here. We're going to right click on the tab to display the shortcut menu. See that because we opened it up, we bypassed our startup options, we're able to do this. We wouldn't have been able to have done this if we had not bypassed the startup options, because we had selected that we could not do this when we set those options earlier and we started disabling all those options. Now that you've got that done, let's go ahead and just close your employee table. Once you got that closed, what we're going to do is we're going to reset the database properties and startup options in our health database. And this will be the last part of session 12.2, which will conclude our tutorial for tutorial 12. So let's go ahead and click on the File tab here as we go to reset our database properties. And we'll go down to Options. Once the Access Options dialog box pops open, we're going to click Current Database here on the left again. And from there, we are going to click the Display Form once again. From here, we are going to select None to take it back to what it was prior to our changes. And then we are going to scroll through here and we're going to click several of these checkboxes to once again re-enable them. So by placing a checkbox next to these properties, we will enable them. So the first one we're going to do is use special access keys. We're going to enable our layout view. We're also going to enable the design changes for tables in Datasheet view. We definitely want to be able to display our navigation panes. We're going to select that again to enable that so we're not lost without it. We're going to allow full menus once again. And we are going to allow our default shortcut keys, and we're going to enable track name autocorrect info. Instantly you'll see that you get a dialog box open up that indicates that the track name autocorrect info option generates name maps for the database objects and may take several minutes. Just go ahead and click OK to accept this and close the dialog box. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and go back up to Object Designers again so that we can re-enable our error checking. So if you scroll down here, go ahead and select that. We're going to go ahead and click the OK button to close our Access Options dialog box. And of course, we have been informed once again that we must close and reopen the current database for those options to take effect. So go ahead and click the OK button there. And we're going to close Access and open up our database one more time and see that we now have our startup options changed. And our database opened as expected. So now that you see everything has been displayed, go ahead and close the health database and exit Access as you have completed session 12.2 of tutorial 12. Thank you everyone for joining, and that concludes tutorial 12.